This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stockbox interview.
Joining us today is Dr. Tim Corn, the CMO, that's the Chief Medical Officer at Oxford Cannabinoid Technologies. Recent news from the company announcing that, Tim, you have been appointed to the board. So it's the first time that we are speaking here on Stockbox. Thank you very much for your time. How are you?
I'm very well, Mark. Thank you. It's nice to be on the programme.
Indeed. Well, it's the first time that we're speaking, and I'd like to get a bit of an understanding, really, a bit about you, where you've come from, your background, and what's led you to where you are now with this appointment at Oxford.
Okay, yeah. So I trained in medicine at King's College Hospital in London, spent 7 years in the National Health Service, doing some research during that time on the biology of mental illness and depression in particular. And that's when I got interested in the pharmaceutical industry. And so I moved into pharma, hoping to be part of developing new treatments that would be better than the ones that I've been used to using in the clinic. And I've been in the pharma industry, I guess, for quite a long time now. My last full-time job really was helping to found a company called EUSA Pharma, which was sold to Jazz Pharmaceuticals, the current owners of GW Pharma, as it happens. Mm-hmm. And when I left Jazz, I pursued a career as a consultant and as a board director.
So in terms of your experience in the CBD or the medicinal cannabis sector, what experience do you have in past careers here?
Well, actually, I've been following GW's progress for a very long time because many years ago now, I was with a company where we actually looked at doing a collaboration with GW over their Sativex drug in multiple sclerosis. Mm-hmm. That unfortunately came to nothing, but it gave me an opportunity to get to understand the area quite well many years ago.
Okay. So, and how long have you been working with Oxford, sort of in the background, so to speak?
Not really very long, actually.
I
started to talk to them, and we got interested in the idea that I might be their part-time chief medical officer, and I joined back in June. And then they've since asked me if I'd like to join the board at the company, and I was very pleased to do that.
Okay. And what is it that sort of attracted you to this role particularly, and the work that Oxford are doing in their medicinal cannabis research?
I think it's because of two things, really. I like to be associated with things that can really make a difference to patients. And I believe the two indications that they're working in with programs 1 and 2 are ones that will really address unmet medical need. And the second is, I think that the whole area of cannabis medicines has been confused by the medical cannabis story. And people have lost sight of the fact that there are also a couple of cannabis products that are properly approved medicines, prescribable, fully regulatory approved, which are very useful in the indications for which they've been approved. Mm-hmm. Childhood epilepsy and the treatment of terminal cancer. So I think it's time to focus cannabis medicine so that we can find out what it's really all about, and focus on particular indications, particular compounds, and do medical research programs to the standard that regulatory agencies expect, and which prescribing physicians and their patients will benefit from.
Okay. And in terms of your responsibilities then, Tim, where's the focus going to be? I know that program 1 is, of course, it completed the phase 1 trial, so they'll be getting ready to go into phase 2. But where are the minutes in your day spent?
Well, the job of a CMO, when I'm asked that question at dinner parties, I basically say I'm responsible for everything medical that happens in the company. Mm-hmm. And so I always think my primary responsibility is towards safety, patient safety, and making sure that we do the best for the patients and that we design efficient programs that will rapidly gain regulatory approval and commercialization. So my day-to-day concerns are really about programs 1 and 2, which are both program 1 already in the clinic, program 2 getting ready for the clinic, and both really following that template that I described of focused cannabis products, dealing with, in one case, well, probably both cases actually, I'm not sure, orphan conditions, certainly very rare conditions, where there's a profound unmet medical need.
Okay. And in terms of the regulatory environment, you mentioned that earlier. What is that landscape looking like, do you think? Are things getting slightly easier? Are attitudes changing, particularly with, let's say, the British government, which is, of course, where Oxford are doing most of their work?
Yes, I mean, during my career, I actually worked at the MHRA for a couple of years, so I know what it's like from the other side of the fence. I've always found regulatory agencies, particularly the FDA, actually, and the MHRA, to be very helpful in me doing my job. I've been able to have sensible conversations with them about what they want, and what they want is usually very sensible, and then designing programs to deliver that. So I go into meetings with regulatory agencies with a very positive frame of mind. I don't see them as a problem. I see them as a help for me to do my job.
Okay, well, that's good. And if we were to get a bit of an idea of where things are right now, because it has been a little while since we've spoken to anyone at Oxford Cannabinoid, so just to get a sense of where things are with regards to Program 1, Program 2 in particular, but also there's a lot of assets, aren't there, in the company as well that are quite valuable. So could you perhaps give us a snapshot of where everything is in the company at the moment?
Yes. Okay. So Program 1, as you probably know, is a synthetic CBD agonist. Very selective. So again, refining the whole idea of cannabis, and that's being targeted primarily at chemotherapy-induced neuropathic pain, peripheral neuropathy associated with pain, which is a pretty awful condition. Affects about 60% of people who get chemotherapy. So that is already in the clinic. We've completed a single ascending dose study in normal subjects. So we know that we have a safe and well-tolerated dose. We need to finish phase 1, and then we need to commission our phase 2 study, which will be a proof of concept really in CINP.
Okay.
So that's one. Program 2 is a combination product of THC and CBD given by inhalation. And again, these are synthetic, not plant derived, although they are the same chemical as appear in the plant. And this is being targeted at trigeminal neuralgia, which is a horrible thing to have, currently treated with anticonvulsants predominantly, but sometimes with surgery. And if we can make a significant difference there, that will be very important. That is in the final stages of the preparations for going into phase 1.
Okay.
So there are lots of documents that need to be written that the regulatory agencies will need to review, and we're at final draft stage on all of that.
Perfect. Okay, so you've got the Program 1 that's finishing phase 1 and going into phase 2. So it's past that initial safety thing, which is, of course, what phase 1 is all about, and that was your focus. And you've got the Program 2, which is the trigeminal neuralgia treatment, which will be nearing phase 1. So, I mean, what about the other elements of the business here? Any other activities going on? I know there's Programs 2 and 3, but also the assets as well in the company.
Yes, well, Programs 2 and 3 are still in preclinical development. And as you probably know, Program 4 gained a lot of interest because it's potentially an oncology drug, an immunotherapy indeed. And then there's the library of cannabinoid molecules, which we hope will be a great sort of source of new programs down the line.
Okay.
It takes a lot of time to sort through things and decide on what fits what target. But we'll be providing updates on that as they become available.
Okay. Well, we're approaching the end of the year. Of course, it's not long now until the end of the year. What are you sort of looking out for? I mean, it's not long left at the end of this year, so maybe looking a little bit further into 2024. What would you personally like to either you achieve or see the company achieve during next year?
I think the company and me as well, the two things we need to achieve in 2024 are really to be starting the phase 2 study for program 1 in CINP, and to at least have completed the phase 1 work on program 2, if not also starting the proof of concept. So if we were having this talk at the end of next year, I would hope to be able to talk to you about progress with 2 phase 2 studies.
Perfect. Well, a year is a long time away, but I will remember, because I'm sure we will talk again in a year's time, but also a lot more in between then to see how things are progressing with the company. But thank you very much for your time today, Dr. Tim Corn, the CMO at Oxford Cannabinoid Technologies.
Thank you, Mark. It's been a pleasure.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.